Again, we are talking about listening test now. And as you can see, there is a 40 minutes test and you have to give 40 MCQs, right? It's an audio driven exam. Here, maybe they are giving you more time, but usually you don't get this much time. So it's an audio driven exam, and audio itself contains the pause and everything. So the exam is very well, software is very good. So every question before playing the audio, you get 10 seconds to read the question and options, right? So you have a timer that is start the timer 10, 9, 8. So you know how much time you have for reading the question and the options. Similarly, then they play the audio. After playing the audio, they give you 10 to 15 seconds to mark the answer. And even for that, you have a timer at the corner. So you know 15, 14, 13. You know how much time you have to mark the answer before the new audio, before the page changes to the next question. And they will play the new audio. Again, the same cycle. 10 to 15 seconds before the audio starts for reading the question and the options. Then the audio. Then again 10 to 15 seconds to mark the answer. So all is timed, everything is straightforward. The only thing that is different from reading test is that you cannot control the flow of the exam. You cannot go from question 1 to 5 or 5 to 6 because it's a audio based. So the flow is entirely controlled by the software, right? So you don't have any choice. You just have to follow the flow. I would say here the biggest challenge is concentration level. So you have to be extremely concentrated. You have to make most of the time that you get to read the question. You really have to rush to read the question and the options in that 10 to 15 seconds. Sometimes you can relax, you can look around. Maybe there's a Aishwarya Rai's cousin sitting next to you in the exam center. You don't have time for that. So those 10 to 15 seconds that you get before the audio starts, you really, really have to hunker down and read the question and the options as good as you can. So that is the most challenging part. If you just wander around and look at the ceiling or look at the pen, or I don't know, God knows what you look at, or if you go back to your tax declaration of last year for 2 seconds, that's not good. Another challenge that happens is that you heard an audio for a question and you understood nothing. Earlier in TEF, almost 40% of the questions before December 2023, the audio used to be played twice. Actually, that for that reason, we always used to recommend those who are struggling in listening always go for TEF because at least 40% or more of the questions audio was played twice. And even if you miss once because you were thinking about Disha Patani, you could listen to the audio second time with concentration and you can pick out the correct answer. Unfortunately, in order to make TEF and TCF on the same page, they got rid of that in December 2023. Now, all the 40 questions, audio is only played once. So that means that you really, really have to now hunker down and maintain the concentration for 40 minutes. One feedback that we have got from many students recently is that they are playing sometimes audio from Quebec, people who are in Quebec, the audios of Quebecois French. French doesn't change a lot, but the accent can be a little bit different. In fact, they can also pick a French person from African heritage, and the accent will change. Like with Christia, Christia's French accent and my French accent is significantly different. So that can happen. Good news, you do not need to understand the entire sentence. You do not need to understand the entire audio. You just need to pick up the some words here and there to be able to make a correct choice of option. However, one thing that definitely can happen is that you're in the middle of this exam and you heard the audio for question number 13. Somehow you were thinking about IPL final and you did not pay attention and you did not understand much and you have zero idea, or you did not read the question and the options correctly because of lack of concentration and you have no idea which one to mark and you have to take a guess. Let's say, okay, you made a guess and the time ran out, the screen changed, and you're like, oh, no, 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 it was B. Oh, it was B. I marked C. Shit. Now, the thing is that there's no way to go back in listening test. Whatever you marked, for better or worse, is your answer. Or if you are not sure, you had no idea, mark something, no negative marking, move on. But as soon as the screen changes, the previous question should be dead for you. Dead. You should not have any emotional attachment to the previous question. As soon as that happens, you are going down the hill, because then that will affect this question, and this question will affect the next question, and you are out of it. So whatever answer you have marked, you must tell yourself you are Satya Sai Baba, and whatever answer you have marked is the correct answer. That's it. That's the only truth in the world. Even by mistake, if you marked something wrong, that has to be the correct answer, because there will be a software problem tomorrow, and only the answers marked by you will be marked as correct. So just have to have that belief that every answer that you have chosen is the correct answer, and move on. No analysis of exam, no think about, no reflection, nothing. There's no time for that. And this, practice this when you are doing simulations. All of these things, practice them. Don't just go in the exam and say, oh no, I'll figure it out. No, no, no. All of these strategies, practice them. This discipline, this concentration. When you are doing simulations, don't sit on the sofa set and the bed and with Instagram on. Don't do that. Use the exam simulations as if they are exam simulations. Give the exam in one go. Be very, very disciplined so that you can get prepared for the exam. We have a tendency when we take simulations on Prep My Future or at B-Barters, you will be like, okay, I'll pause the test. I'll do it in 2 installments, 3 installments. Don't. We have timers and everything, so it's not even possible now at B-Barters. We have strict timer, and when the timer expires, your exam is submitted automatically. I will still say that just simulate the strategies, the discipline, the concentration levels 1 month before the exam. So you are in that zone that these things will not affect you. Let's go to the exam. Let's look at the exam itself and see what does it look like. That's a better idea. So question number 1 to 4. Every question you hear a conversation between people, and you have to select what they are talking about from the diagram. Okay. This is fairly easy because it's audio visual. Not only you hear the audio, but you also have something to look at. So it's very easy. In this case, I think they were talking about on est ici à 10 heures, c'est 1 heure en avance. Qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? And the second person says, on peut aller au jardin. So I realized that they arrived at 10 o'clock. That means they're here for museum. And so I selected design 2, so like dessin, which is the drawing number 2. And then they talked about, two people are talking about vacation, and the person said that I'm going to stay in the city. Je vais rester dans la ville. Je vais découvrir les quartiers, les musées, les monuments. So I realized that he wasn't talking about beach or jungle or montagne. He was talking about the ville, quartier, monument. So I selected drawing number 4. So another person was, a friend was asking another friend, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ce jour? He says, je suis vraiment occupé, je dois faire les courses, mon frigo est vide. My fridge is empty. I need to make shopping. So I selected drawing number 1. So fairly easy, can we say? Till number 4, I mean, most people who have B2 level should get 4 out of 4. Nothing to see here. No issues of time, no issues of, rushed or anything. Nothing to read in terms of options. There's nothing to read. So it's easy. Just look at the images and answer the question. Next one is, you have to listen to some announcements in public place and answer the question. For example, it was a news weather report in the news, weather report, like in the end, this is going to rain here, this is going to be windy here, and something like that. So I think they were talking about there will be rain in entire France. So I selected that. Second was about train announcement in a train, where they were talking about we are going to soon stop at a station where you can take other trains for Zurich and Geneva and stuff like that. So I selected that. And the third one was the announcement. There was an announcement about the flight at the airport terminal, where they were talking about we are gonna depart. Departure is at 3:40. So again, pretty simple. Nothing much complicated. Enough time to read the options. Options are not very difficult to understand. So I would say question number 1 to 7, A1, A2 level, pretty much you're going to get through all of them without any problem, unless you are concentrating on your neighbor in the classroom and not listening the audio at all. Now, question number 9 to 14 are telephone messages. So sometimes you have this, you leave a message on telephone when you can't reach to somebody. So those are those. And good news about this is that they just ask you for the purpose. You have to listen to the message, usually 15-20 seconds long, and they ask you what is the purpose of this message. So most of the times, sometimes it could be a bit confusing, the options, and that is the one complaint that we have received from students also, that the options can be a little bit confusing because this could have been, both could have been correct. But then, yeah, I would say there's no solution. Pray for the God that you don't get confusing answers, confusing options, and you get options which are very mutually exclusive. Uh, but yeah, nothing much you can do. But I wouldn't say this is difficult. Not much to talk about, really. Very simple. Options are simple. Audios are difficult, last two, but still to B1 level. Nothing more than B1 level. So I would still say that question number 14, if everything goes well, you should be 14 out of 14. 13 out of 14 because of the confusing options. But that's okay. One mistake here and there will not kill you. Question number 15 to 17, again pretty easy. They ask same question to three people, and you will have three audios. Like three people are going to respond to the same question, and the options are going to be same. Is the person totally for? Is the total person is for the affirmation with some condition? Is the person completely against it, or the person is not sure? Right. So what they say is that, que pensez-vous de la vente de médicaments en libre service, notamment en supermarché? What do you think about sale of medicine as in the supermarkets? Like anybody can buy the medicines whenever they want without the prescription in the pharmacy. So then determine if the person asked is for it with certain conditions, is totally against it, or like is not for or against, like undecided. The same options, you'll hear three audios for three people responding to that question. And I would say again, highly unlikely that you will make a mistake. But one thing that you have to understand in this questions, three questions, is that listen to the audio from start to end. Do not make up your mind within the first 10 seconds, because sometimes the person start, oh oui, oh ok, c'est intéressant, hein, c'est intéressant, oui, ça sera pratique et facile à acheter les médicaments dans une supermarché, ça va, ouais, ouais. Mais quand je peux réfléchir un peu plus, mais ça peut être un peu dangereux aussi, hein. Tout le monde peut acheter n'importe quoi. Ce sera un moyen de faire automédication et c'est dangereux. Ouais, 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 on a besoin de contrôle. Enfin, je sais pas. I'm not sure. Je suis pas sûr. In the end, the person was like, oh, non, mais je suis pas sûr. So that means, ne se prononce pas. He did not declare whether he was completely for, completely against, or with some condition. So my only advice in these questions is that listen to their response in totality. Do not mark the answer based on the first sentence or second sentence. Full, complete, listen to the complete response, and then make up your mind whether the person was completely for, completely against, was not sure, or was for with certain conditions. That's the only reason people can make mistake here. Otherwise, we are good. There are three more questions of the same nature. They ask the same question to three people. Pourquoi épargnez-vous? Why do you make savings? Savings for a definite reason, definite plan. Saving for the future of my kids. Saving for urgent situations, and not planning on saving. So those are the four options. Again, three people respond to the same question, and you have to select whether he was saving for the particular reason, he was saving for the future of the kids, for a urgent situation, and he was not saving at all. I got all of them correct because again, it's an easy thing. Just have concentration and listen to the audio till the end. Do not make up your mind before. You get 15 seconds to mark your answer after listening to the audio. That's a lot of time. So no need to rush. And you have nothing to read in the options, right? Options are same for all three questions. So nothing to read in the options either. So no rush. Listen with full concentration. Think about it for 5-10 seconds. And then in the last 5 seconds, mark your answer. But you must mark with complete peace and complete conviction. Do not rush. The only time you can go wrong in this six question is when you rush. So we have covered till question number 20. So half of the test is gone. Again, like reading, I would say for person who has a B2 level or an intermediate level should get at least 18 to 19 correct. So far, so good. Any questions so far in the listening test?
So, in the announcement section or in this questions where they ask people's opinion, is there any background noise? Because I was seeing a YouTube video regarding this thing and there was background noise.
There is some because they are
Hmm.
literally talking on the street, but it should not stop you from understanding.
Okay, and one more, like in this 15 to 17 and 18 to 20, when
Mm,
when you say there are four options in the, say in
mm,
18 to 20, so
mm.
the three of them are correct, or one option might repeat with a different person.
Took the
So it is
test
always
one hour
like that, मतलब तीन में से
no
चार में से
no
तीन
no no
नहीं, मतलब
no
कभी
no no
repeat हो
yeah
सकता है.
yeah it can totally repeat, so there's no
So
fixed
if we answer one, so why I'm asking is if we first audio के लिए अगर एक आंसर दे दिया तो can we omit that from the second?
no you can't you
अच्छा,
just have to
okay.
listen to the audio. No, please don't do that. Let's not make it
Okay.
about James Bond test.
Logic, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's not make it about reduction. No, it can totally repeat. Yeah, it's not difficult. Just listen to the audio, and sometimes you get it from the tone of the person. So you can also understand from the tone whether he's completely for or completely against. Or sometimes, oh, je sais pas. So you can say, oh, he's not sure. So you don't have to understand the audio word to word, but don't go with the no. Last answer was first, so this cannot be first. Don't go like that. Okay, let's move on from question number 21 to 22. Now, these are radio messages, radio emissions, right? Not very long, maybe 30 seconds or 40 seconds. From this point onwards, it becomes a test of your comprehension. Till this point, it was pretty much easy. From this point onwards, you really have to start deduction. You will understand something, and based on what you understood, you'll have to mark the correct answer. The key here is always to read the question and read the four options. Please rush because sometimes the time will not be enough. Please rush and try to read as much as possible. If you don't read the options correctly, if you don't understand the question correctly, there is no way you are going to answer correctly because trust me, you're not going to understand the audio completely. You're always going to understand the audio 40%, 50%, 30%, 60% based on the situation and your level. But if you don't understand the question and the options, there's no way you can mark the answer. Rush through the question, rush through the options, be super, concentrated, no looking around, make most of the time that is given to you. Because from this point onwards, it's all about your ability to read the question and read the options. If you do bad job of that, you're going to have many mistakes, many mistakes. Audio is only going to be played once. So whatever you understand. Based on that, mark the correct answer and then pray to the God that it was the correct answer. And always assume that whatever your mark was the best answer. Never second guess in the exam at least. After coming out of the center, you might even get a small blade and start cutting yourself. But do that after the exam, not during the exam. No judgment, no ritual, no overthinking, no second guessing during the exam. Honestly, this from this point onwards, it becomes the reading test. Long audio after long audio after long audio starts with 30 seconds, becomes 40 seconds, then 1 minute, and at some point of time, it also becomes 2 minute 30 seconds audio, which is a lot, which is a long audio. And these are definitely the most difficult. question. So even if you have 50% strike rate in this long audios, that's more than good enough, because these are C1, C2 level questions. Now the last 10 questions are bit easy, in a sense that there's one audio, one question, which is good. I like that. Only problem with this last 10 questions is that audios are more difficult progressively, and unfortunately, for one question, the audios are rather long. We are talking about 50 seconds, 40 to 50 seconds each audio for one question. And the options can also be a little bit long to read. So this also is a very good test of your patience. Like, can you read the options? Can you read the long options? And I think challenging at this point to keep reading the options. But it becomes easier in exam because you're in that exam zone. Your future depends on it. So I hope that you will not procrastinate in the middle of the 40-minute exam, and you will read the options and the question correctly, so that you give yourself the best chance to score at least 6 to 7 out of 10, if not 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. My impression overall is listening test is the second least difficult after reading. Reading is the most easiest. After that is listening. Again, the same. If you can score 30, 32 questions out of 40 correct, you have a very good chance of getting CLB 7. And if you have B2 level in French, this should not be a challenge, honestly speaking. Concentration is a must, and the way to develop that is to take exam simulations. Do at least 5 to 6 exam simulations of listening, and every time do them in one sitting, 40 minutes sitting, and so that you get used to that level of concentration. If you're in that exam preparation mode 1 month before the exam, I would suggest take the simulations, 5, 6 simulations, so you get used to that level of concentration and reduction. But long story short, I don't think this should be a challenge. And by the way, reading and listening tests that we discussed for TEF are very similar to TCF. So the same points that we discussed, same advice, suggestions that we gave could apply as it is to TCF reading and listening also. Because number of questions is same now, 40 questions each in both the exams. Earlier, TEF was different than TCF for reading and listening. Since December 2023, both exams are extremely same in terms of reading and listening. So all the advice that we talked about applies as it is to TCF Canada also for reading and listening. Any question for listening?
How many questions come with a Quebecois accent?
Well, there's no definite number, obviously, but I would say let's take a normal French accent will be 75%, and foreign accents, let's say 25%.
Austin, is it one audio, one question, or one audio could have multiple questions?
So mostly it's one audio, one question, except for this 2 minute 30-second audio for which you have to answer two questions. That's it. Otherwise it's one audio, one question. Yeah. So question number 23 and 24, same audio. Question number 25, 26, same audio. And question number 27, 28, same audio. And then question number 29, 30, also same audio. And after that, again, individual. So 8 questions have one audio for two questions, like 4 audios for 8 questions. Question number 22 to 30. Apart from that, every question, single audio.
So if we have 10 seconds for reading, 15 seconds for marking the answer, so approximately.
Honestly, nobody has complained about this. Not a single student in our 4 year experience of teaching for these exams have ever complained that they did not get enough time to either read the questions or mark the answer, either way. So I would still say that you should not worry too much about it. Just the only thing is, if you have concentration levels, it's not a problem. They have designed the exam in such a manner that you have enough time to read the question options and mark it. Unless you are daydreaming in the middle of the exam, then nothing can be done.
Now, next question
Huh.
starts after completion of those 10 seconds or immediately after we click the answer.
No, only after the timer is expired. So if you can easily, let's say for some questions, easy question, you can actually, you know, the answer immediately. You don't have to wait till 15 seconds to mark. So you can mark it and then do some yoga. Yeah, just refresh a little bit. You have those, that is your opportunity to take a break. That's definitely the 7 on an average. I would say you get 7-8 seconds of break every question, and that's required also before you tune in again, because otherwise it's impossible to maintain that level of concentration for 40 minutes straight. So those, you get about 10 seconds of relaxation in every question, unless you are overthinker and you're like, "Oh, I marked C, but it could be B, but last question was A, so it cannot be A here. It has to be D. How can it be A? Oh, no, no, don't do that. Once you mark the question, yeah, and then get ready to concentrate again for the next question. What you must have realized by now, I have given so many exams in my life for, I don't know why, but I did. Most of the time, first answer that you come up with, most of the time, is the correct answer, because your brain has taken cognizance of everything and it has come up with the right answer. And then whatever happens after that is emotional response. No, I'm not that intelligent. How can I get the answer in 10 seconds? C'est pas possible. Je suis trompé. I'm going to overthink. Don't do that. And the good news is that exam doesn't have much time to do that anyway. So why bother? Just give the first answer as much concentration as you can, mark it and believe, yeah, you are the ultimate truth, and move on.